our second panel session. This industry-focused session will promote strategic and operational plans among the players in the private sector, sharing ideas on crisis management in a business context and effective coping mechanisms amid this pandemic. The invited speakers today are coming from the travel trade, hospitality services, and tourism organizations that will provide innovative and transformative practices towards inclusive growth across the sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, the second panel session is powered by our Australian-based partner institution, University. Let's all watch this short video. And to help us elaborate on the key issues on how the industry can empower a positive transformation and build post-pandemic resilience across its sectors, let us all welcome and open this virtual stage our moderator, Professor Alwin Apid, a faculty member of CHIM Antipolo Campus. Good morning, Professor Apid.
Good morning, Sir Matt. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Just a quick technical check if I can be heard from your end well.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear, I think.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, good day, and I hope everyone is enjoying while learning from our honored guests for today's conference. As the assigned moderator for the second session, allow me to introduce to you our panel of speakers who are coming from the travel industry and national organizations. I'm certain our participants, most especially our students, are now eager to hear words coming from you. We are now lucky to have here today our set of speakers. First on the list is the CEO of Southwest Tours Boracay, Mr. Cedric Sazon. He is also the former president of Calibo Cable TV Incorporated. Good morning, Sir Cedric. And thank you so much for saying yes to our invitation. Okay. Second on the list is the president and chairman of Raja Travel Corporation. She has received several awards like the Global Peace Awards for Institute for Peace Through Tourism, India, in partnership with the UNWTO last 2016. She has also been the president of the ASEAN Tourism Association and the Philippine Travel Agencies Association, or PTAA, Philippine IATA Agents Travel Association, or PIATA, and the IATA Agency Program Joint Council, or APJC, a member of the Commission on Higher Education Technical Committee for Hotel and Tourism Management. Please welcome, she's none other than Ms. Eileen Clemente. Good morning, Ms. Eileen.
Good morning.
Maraming salamat po sa pagpapaunlak ng aming invitation for today.
Thank you.
Thank you po. Our third panel speaker is the chairperson of the Tourism Industry Board Foundation Incorporated. She is the former executive director for Linkages and Standards and director for planning and development of the Lyceum of the Philippines University. She is also the former president of the Council of Hotel and Restaurant Educators in the Philippines. Please welcome the chairperson of TIBFI, Ms. Maria Cristina G. Aquino. Good morning, Madam Aquino. Magandang umaga po. And thank you so much for granting our invitation today. Maraming salamat po, ma'am. And to complete the set of our honored guests for today, the president of the Hotel and Restaurant Association of the Philippines. He is currently also the general manager of the Bayview Park Hotel, a graduate of General Managers Program of Cornell University, and also holding a bachelor's degree in Commerce, Business Administration from the University of Santo Tomas, and a bachelor's degree from Law or School of Law from Manuel L. Quezon University. He is a lifetime member of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines and a member of the Quarter Hotel Society. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, virtual applause to Mr. Eugene Yap. Magandang umaga po, attorney, and thank you so much for granting our invitation. It's nice to see you here today, sir.
Good morning. Hello to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for this invitation. And congratulations to OLFU, CHIM, MICE for this wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, attorney. The pleasure is ours. Thank you for sparing time being with us today and for saying yes to our invitation. With much excitement, it is our privilege to hear words from you today. Based on the industry initiatives and business continuity plans, the common question for most business across sectors and industries is, how can the industry empower a positive transformation and build post-pandemic resilience across its sectors? Ladies and gentlemen, this industry-focused session will promote strategic and operational plans among the players in the private sector, sharing ideas on crisis management and effective strategies amid the pandemic. Our invited guest speakers today are, I guess, kind enough to share information, although I believe that's quite confidential and strategic for your own businesses, and impart their knowledge on innovative and transformative practices toward inclusive growth. Now, without further ado, let us now set the context of this conversation, calling in Ms. Eileen Clemente from Raja Travel Corporation to share with us a lens of positive transformation. Magandang umaga, Ms. Eileen.
Good morning.
Good morning po. Yes. Ms. Eileen, to set the context, tourism is seasonal by nature. But over the past years or even decades that you've been doing businesses, private sectors are already in concrete tactics on how you do your revenue management. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit and has challenged all the industries across sectors, giving us this somewhat like a long period of an uncertain lean season. Now, the question is, based on your continuity plans and initiatives, can you share to us some of your innovative strategies in terms of your pricing and yielding management, which I guess is the most challenging part of this crisis, and perhaps your modes of promotions that you find effective in the current state of pandemic and in the long run?
Okay, so let me answer your question, no? Tourism actually is not seasonal in nature. What is seasonal is the products that you have. So let's just clarify that portion, because it's in the number of products and services that you have that will dictate how you will move your business forward. Unfortunately, there would probably be some organizations, I'd say organizations because Raja Travel is more of an organization than a travel agency, where we are able to diversify our portfolio so much so that there is enough products that is available at any time of the year. So that's the number one formula that we have. So in terms of the pricing, the formulation is somewhat the same. What differs is what are the components to the pricing. So this is where you will need to now, in the next normal, I just call it also the next normal, not the new normal, because it will always change. So you have to have that assurance that you are able to look at all your different components together. In terms of the airlines, they do already have an algorithm that talks about how they do their pricing. No? Same with the hotel. There's already that algorithm. However, there are also what you call promotions, which is different from the algorithm. So it depends on how you look at the different promotions that you can have pre-selling, no? So you can have like an early payment discount. You can also have a last minute discount. It depends on what kind of products you have available to you where you can probably use some of the different promotions. So we incorporate all of that, but we make sure that we're not just trendy, but we're actually doing things that are sure to be a formula for the next few years.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clemente. Those are rich inputs to set the benchmark of this industry, second session for the industry-focused conversation. I would like to highlight the part that tourism is not seasonal by nature, because most of the references, academically speaking, would say that one of the weaknesses of tourism is that it's seasonal. But coming from the reality perspective or from the lens of our industry practitioners, it's the products and services, which are seasonal. And the key, as what you've mentioned, the key component or solution to that is to come up with a more sustainable offering all throughout the year. Now, you've mentioned, Ms. Clemente, just a sundot question on the algorithm that you've mentioned. Based on the current state of pandemic, have you extracted whether there is or there's no sort of market segment or market profile during this pandemic? Or shall we call it the pandemic travelers? Okay, what are those and what are their characteristics, if you could share?
Well, it really depends because you have to first look at the product, as I have mentioned. So there would be some, not even all hotels have the same. But let's talk about airlines. They have economy, business class. Just to simplify the example. So they know the profile of their business class travelers versus the economy travelers. That's why they also have what they call a 3 days, 2 nights type of airfare. They also have a 6-month valid airfare, 1 year valid airfare. For hotels, they also have, depending on their type of clientele, how much they give us net rates to agents. They also have a direct consumer promotion. So it really depends also on the type of hotel because it's useless to offer a high-end rate or if you have your room categories, you probably, your run of the house would be your lowest category. But there are some corporate hotels that would probably not use the run of the house to be the lowest category, for example. I may be stepping on Eugene's talk, but there's it's really different. So there's no one hard fast rule on how you do your algorithms.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clemente. Apologies for some terminologies and jargons. Just just bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Ms. Clemente. I know that the competition is tough, but here you are sharing your strategies with us. Maraming salamat po. And I'll get back to you for the next coming questions. Our second question will be given to our second panel speaker. Okay, which is all about the power of technology. May I call in Ms. Maria Cristina Aquino to share with us about the second question. Madam, the question is that shifting to a new paradigm that is more technologically advanced, companies, especially during this state of crisis, had to adapt to what the crisis requires, which I believe that has shaped so many variables and operational structures sa industriya natin. When the pandemic forcibly shaped us, and of course, in most of the organizations, what are the newly launched and state-of-the-art forms of technological advancement that in your field today that you believe are and will be still in trend in the next coming years? Yes, Madam, I think naka-mute pa po kayo. I think that's muted again, or if you're using an earphone, ma'am, perhaps you can unplug it for a while and then balik po natin.
Alvin?
Am I good?
Ayun, okay.
Yes,
yes, madam, we can
much.
hear you well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Technology really it can be a friend or can be a fiend. Let me just go back to your discussion about products and services that we have in tourism. Tourism is really very service laden. You've got to have a lot of people working in the industry to make sure that the services, the products are actually given to our very discriminating tourists. In fact, a few years back, the discussion was about high tech or high touch. When you talk about high tech, you've got a lot of technology tools that are being used, but in the parlance of service, either you go high tech and then you lose out on the personal touches that are needed to make the service very personal. But what has COVID done to us? COVID has actually, I love this phrase. We talk about new normal, but in the Tibet Forum recently, the now normal. Why am I saying the now normal? Because we have not yet moved entirely to the new normal. Things are still moving in transition right now, and there are a lot of things that are moving. COVID has actually accelerated digital transformation in many aspects of the operation right now. In fact, if you take a look, there are still broken lines in the operation that are high-tech in nature, but there are still some that actually are still high-touch in nature. One discussion that we had in, I think when we were discussing the virtual soiree on Practical, when Bobby Horrigan mentioned that there are now opportunities for us to actually do relationship building, but the relationship building is done in a different way. And how do we do this? We do this in making sure that the voice of the server is actually very personal. We do virtual calls right now for sales. There are plenty of uses of QR codes right now. You're using a lot of smart technology in checking in, checking out. You don't even need to talk with somebody in front office to get your card, your key, your room key anymore. You can just use your cell phone to actually go into your room and transact many kinds of services. You can book your food. You can do a lot of inquiries using your phone. You don't even have to talk with anyone anymore. What is also surprising right now is the use of digital marketing. If you're not present in the digital space, you're absent. People will not take a look at what your services, what your products are a particular enterprise is offering. And so you've got to make sure that you beef up on your websites, on your social media, to make sure that your presence is felt, because a lot of customers or clients are actually looking out there for what can interest them. With different levels of quarantine, you have a lot of people who are in search of, what do they call it? Vengeance travel. People want to travel, but because they are looking at what restrictions right now, they're already planning what can happen, 1 month, 2 months from now. In fact, some enterprises are selling already open-ended vouchers just to make sure that business will be forthcoming and they can book it anytime that they are already there. What else? Analytics is also something that's very high right now. You've got to make sure that you know the numbers, as mentioned, the algorithms that come with pricing the different products that you have. Hotel rooms, in the past, they normally would just have one standard rate, but right now, depending on the demand and supply of rooms that you have, you can be very on point, really, when you quote a particular price for your customer. There's a lot of technology that's involved, but still, bottom line is you've got to develop relationship with your clients. You've got to make sure that there is a personal touch that is given, whether it is personal face-to-face or personal virtual. We have a lot of people who are still at a loss using this technology-driven applications that we have. And so there's a lot of upskilling, reskilling training that has to be done, not only for guests, but also for the people who man the different services. In the past, you were welcomed by somebody when you open the door of an enterprise, whether it's a hotel or a restaurant. But right now, there are different ways of welcoming customers that you have in your premises. So I think technology is going to be more prevalent in the use, but we should not lose sight of the personal touch that uniquely puts tourism and that's why it's called hospitality. You've got to make sure that there is some kind of service that is given by some. Robots can can be very interesting, but it's different if you still see the face of the person who's serving you. So I hope that I was able to share some of the state-of-the-art technology apps that we have right now. A lot of learning, lifelong learning is going to be supported actually by the different apps. It doesn't matter what app you're using right now, but you have to make sure that everybody is well familiar with it as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Maria Cristina Aquino, for the very rich inputs. Okay, nalula ako sa nilatag or in-enumerate ni Madam. But I would just like to highlight, ma'am, no, which I agree a lot on the fact that, I mean, on the high-tech versus the high-touch thing, no, that, of course, technology brings efficiency, but only personal touch can provide intimacy.
Yeah.
Now, in relation to that, considering that market segment, demographically speaking, has this different preferences, should I say, and technical literacy, if I must also say, whether they will prefer or perceive it as something that is useful to them. What do you think is the huge challenge for these industries to persuade, no, and encourage those who are skeptical, or we call it in the framework as the skeptical laggards types of
Yes.
segment, which are quite resistant, not to embrace and accept what's in the now normal.
Yes. If you visited some websites, there's use of artificial intelligence already, where you have somebody who is assisting you in some of the products and services, because some people cannot just maneuver the different website, and so that's a way that you can actually personalize the service. If you're not able to get the response, and they can email you, and you will have somebody who will call you up and assist you with the kind of products or services that you're looking for. You mentioned something about analytics, really frequencies of what products that are being sought out by customers is going to be something that will be important. If you have products that are not raising awareness for your customers, then you can modify that as an enterprise owner. If there are some needs that are not being met right now by customers, then you can also make sure that you're able to develop it. That is the fun way of now doing business, because you're now able to monitor a lot of these products and services that are either being bought, being purchased, being requested by your customers. And if you're able to keep track of that, that is really a wealth of information that can make you more relevant to your captured market. Really, it starts really with schooling. If you're not yet digitally proficient, you have to do a lot of brush up strokes already with your computer. I was looking at computer proficiency as not just, it's just the first step, but using the information, the data you get as a result of using these computer applications is more enriching, because that's when you do analytics and you're able to find out really more about the target market that you have. So what time of the day do they come from? Do they respond? Do they require for service? Where are they coming from? You can do a study on what provinces, what areas, or what kind of queries you're looking at. Those information really is food for thought for the enterprise, because you've got to make sure that all of this is actually managed as well. We cannot just simply let that go and not be mindful of this information, because it's not going to be useful for anyone. But I think we have to harvest this information and find out how we can better serve our distinct markets. Yes, Miss Techie over there, Miss Eileen, is actually such a person who is actually, one of the things I think we have to beef up here in the Philippines is really the infrastructure for connectivity, because oftentimes connectivity is really the start of challenge that we have. And so much as you want to do digital platforms, digital transformation, but if the people, the users, you don't have stable electricity, if you don't have connectivity, these are also going to be challenges that will add on to the difficulty of making sure that digital transformation in your processes is actually fully established. I went to a restaurant one time, and this was December of last year, and there was just a window where we could actually go out and walk, and they didn't have any menus anymore. And so when we asked, where is the menu? And we had to scan the QR code, and lo and behold, if you don't have a QR reader, that's going to be a challenge. So I'm 60 years old, 61 years old, and my children have been pushing me actually to make sure that I'm, I have digitally transformed to the level that I could at this age. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good and a very informative experience to share, Ms. Aquino. No? Yes, I would agree that algorithms, no, all these figures would give us a more reliable and valid sales data mining strategies. I would also like to to thank you for putting emphasis on the importance of business analytics, statistics, and quantitative research for in the faces of our students right now who are currently studying those courses. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Aquina, and I'll get back to you for a few more questions later. Now, before we proceed to the third question, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our Assistant Secretary, Madam Rina Bueno. Magandang umaga po, ASEC.
Magandang umaga.
Magandang umaga po. It's so nice, and we're very grateful to have you here today as our guest.
Thank you. My pleasure. Good
Salamat
morning,
po.
everyone.
Maybe somebody can spotlight her so she can join the stage with us. There.
I came from another event, so I didn't have a chance to change my background. So sorry.
It's fine, ASEC. Very tourism anyway.
Oh, yes.
Thank you po again sa
Thank you.
pagpapaunlak. Okay. Now moving on to our third question. I think our tech team is flashing the third question. And the third question will be given to Mr. Cedric M. Sazon of Southwest Tours. Magandang umaga po, Sir Cedric. Okay, I guess as I was checking actually the list of participants a while ago, parang parating pa lang yata si Sir Cedric. So perhaps I could give this question to Attorney Yap, no? If it's fine with you, Attorney, with regards what do you call that? Integrated marketing communication tools. Social media, mobile marketing, and the continuously developing trends in digital advertising might have been used as effective integrated marketing communication tools for the contemporary market, even during the pre or before the pandemic hit us. With the impact of the current crisis, can you also share to us the newly discovered tools in the industry targeting the characteristics of a post-pandemic market segment? Perhaps this is a continuation question, not to Mrs. Aquino kanina po. Go ahead, Attorney.
All right. We all know that we need to go digitization or digitalization in marketing, especially right now. Even if during the pre-COVID times, we were already doing a lot of these things, but not as much as during these COVID times, no? The most important, and we still continue to recognize, is data gathering. As much as possible, we need the demographics, the actual traffic that people go to. Of course, sometimes privacy is of concern, but nevertheless, whatever known, whatever we have encountered already, this is very important because these lay the framework of the marketing segments of tomorrow. So what we were seeing right now, whether it be high-tech AR or algorithms, as the two wonderful ladies that have mentioned it, more to it is the data gathering. I guess I'd like to keep on mentioning. That's very important. And because also data gathering becomes obsolete, or if it's not obsolete, it becomes, it migrates to other categories also. So it's very important to keep on looking at it, keep on studying it and studying our traffic. Even right now, both restaurants and the accommodation divisions of HRAP continues to monitor these segments. Now, what we did is, the most important is we went, we went online. Everyone went online. As you know, FDF meeting with our guests would be very limited, and also with our fellow men, how to continue discussions and communicating, and other government officials are very, very limited. FTF, of course, FTF would like to have that, but mostly we do it online. So we continue doing online, we continue developing high tech, we continue to learn. And we learn also from the other countries, and actually other countries also learn from us how we do in this pandemic. Okay, so the most important, of course, again, I'd like to emphasize marketing segment would be the marketing segmentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney Yap. No, I would definitely agree on the market segmentation or on the essentiality of market segmentation, in which we do or conduct data gathering for us to assess the demographics and, of course, the actual traffic to measure how engaging the online props are. Okay, and speaking about online, Attorney, you've mentioned that one must have to be good in online strategies. May we ask how is e-commerce nowadays? I mean, with your B2C and B2B distribution chains.
It's very we continue because of the limited in travel. Because of the limited in travel right now, many of our friends, let's say travel search engines or bookers, will be of shall we say limited traffic right now. So what we're very most important right now is to forgo the past and to look forward the future. As we go on FTF classes right now, we feel that because this segment contains millions of students that will be going back to FTF, so we are also readying the travel. So what we are focusing is right now in the travel and accommodation and the dining sector, we're now focusing on that one. So everyone's going online, improving. So even if we have FTF, we have dine-in already, we have leisure accommodations when it is allowed. We will still continue to go online. We will not forego with that, and we have to, because people are used to it right now. People feel comfortable with it. People are used to it right now. No one wants to be a dinosaur, technological dinosaur. Everyone wants to be the one hatchlings, everyone wants to be the millennial. Even me, I have to push myself. I've been very hesitant months or before, but I have to force myself, and I do enjoy going online right now. So we will never forgo with online, even if we have FTF. We are not sure if the pandemic will come down or any other crisis, non-pandemic, will also face us. So we'll continue to go online on that one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney. Again, we're very grateful that you're sharing this information, which I must say these are secrets, because with the tough competition nowadays, especially in the hotel industry, that tough ang ating occupancy rate. Okay, but here you are sharing your tactics and techniques sa ating audience and participants. Moving forward to our fourth question, I'll get back to you later, Attorney. I still have one more pasabog atomic bomb question before the session ends, which I think is very relatable para sa inyo, sir. Moving forward to our fourth question is a question on Attorney has just mentioned face-to-face classes. Let's talk about synergy of the academe and the private sectors. Working hand in hand with academic institutions, business sectors are also essential molders of future professionals. What are your thoughts on the current restrictions on internship programs as mandated by the Commission on Higher Education? Although I believe during the first session, there were flexible learning implementations that were mentioned. And if you have, what are your recommendations so that despite the limitations, quality training can still be attained by students taking their OJTs? I believe may nakahang na thoughts pa rin si Attorney Yap, with regards this matter. So Attorney, if you could answer this question.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Pete. Now, I know all the members of the education sector are waiting to finish hospitality curriculum with a much delayed internship of our students. Excited and longing as we all are, we still need to recognize the many limitations that have been imposed on the internship programs with the professional establishment like the hotels and restaurants. So I'll just give you some of the highlights. Of course, we had the prohibition of FDF classes amongst the students, and most hotels are allowed transient quarantine guests only. So that means incoming and outgoing passengers for air and sea. hotels that are allowed leisure guests are still very limited right now. Hopefully, it will increase in the near future. The movement restrictions within its establishments are limited to staff, authorized guests, and quarantine officials. And staff schedules are still limited. And many of us are still on skeletal force, and staff mentoring may still be limited. Now, however, in spite of these negative news, I'd like to put up some positive news that we have. I know Ched came out with a virtual program, a draft already. We're looking forward to it. Before that is released right now, the HRAP and other hospitality establishment have been doing on their own, on our own, each establishments, and later on we might pool our resources to have a survey on that one. But mostly, allow me to say, continues to discuss with you that HRAP participant members are now drafting a short template to accommodate hospitality interns during this pandemic. No matter how small we feel, that at least if we can achieve, if it's not 100%, at least 1 or 2 or 3%. I hope if we can establish on our small contribution, we will try to do that for the education sector. And by assisting some staffs for special functions to guide directly, we have assigned special staffs on each establishment to guide possible interns, regarding their needs. Most of our staffs would be staff and interns would be communicating through online still. No, as I said, there are some limitations on that one, as FTF may still not be authorized, and possible meetups or site visit may be allowed as soon as the situation is authorized by the government. So we feel that interns communicating with professionals would be a one good step, a one good alternate, a one good start for before the near actual deployment now. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much, Attorney. Now, mentioning about staffing, I am actually quite delighted to know that these are the strategies of the private sector, para hindi, I mean, being part of the academe, most of my students would always have this, when the pandemic started, would always have this parang fear or step backs that they're quite afraid to leap in or jump into the industry in the future, because this pandemic has just really proven na, diba, kulala tayo eh. I mean, of all the industries, tayo yung huling bumalik, right? Or who made it back on track, no? Attorney, how would you encourage our students that despite this crisis, still hospitality industry is fighting? No?
Okay, this is thank you for that wonderful question. Hospitality is here and will never go away. In fact, we have realized that the losses that we have, when we lost the opportunity to do business, to have dine in, to do so, for this one we recognize and we do appreciate the freedoms, the loss on this one. So we see there is still a need, and these are very important parts of our lives. Hospitality is here to stay. We are here. We're looking forward to things that will going back to normal. I wouldn't like to keep on saying the new normal, but normal, that means we have dine in, we have normal travel. Of course, we do have restrictions, but I would like to tell our students and our future industry workers that don't worry, future is bright. We're just waiting for government authorization. We are prepared, we are ready, we are very resilient. We know very well, we have been talking for COVID for all these times. If you search COVID topics in one hit in Google, you will look at it. 6 billion, 7 billion, 8 billion have been studying it already. So one way or another, we are so aware of it, we are so careful about it. The world is not perfect. The world has not been perfect even before the COVID pandemic struck, and it will not be perfect also in the future. But we have to live with it. We have been living with it with all other tragedy or difficult situations before. This is just one of them. Of course, this one was the most shall we say, memorable or the most devastating, because we lived through it and we will continue to live for it, above it. Thank you, Prof. Apid.
Thank you so much, Attorney. Those are very encouraging and enlightening for everyone, even in the field of the academe. No? Those are words which we can use on how to further inspire our students that hospitality and tourism industry now remains tough and resilient amidst a crisis. Now, since I believe the topic now is all about looking on the brighter side, perhaps we can now move to the second to the last question, which is all about resilience. No? In the industry, resilience entails not just optimism, but a contingency plan. Okay, and several points of view have been voiced out that critically contradict the Filipino concept of resilience. Like, let's stop romanticizing it, for some disasters can actually be avoided, or if not, some instances or circumstances should have at least plan B, C, D, and so forth. From the business perspective, what have you learned so far from this pandemic that makes your renewed structure more durable, resistant, and resilient should another form of crisis exist in the future? Okay, so I guess we can hear words from Ms. Eileen, and then whoever from the panel speakers could also add on may also speak. Ms. Eileen.
Thank you for that question. The way I would want to answer your question is this. Resilience is actually a mindset, no? It's not something that's fixed as a formula where you say you will do this or you will do that. Resilience is a mindset which we need to recognize for you to know what you can do if something happens, that you are able to move when something happens. That's the basis of resiliency. Having said that, things that we have done, I mean, for me, what it proves is that we currently, not naman to talk about Raja in itself, but we were able to move very fast to pivot just because we were also parang forecasting things that would happen. So we do have our BCP plans, if you would want to call it that, but then it was not foolproof. It's just a guide. We have to remember everything that we document is just a guide. And even we have to understand what trends are and how to understand terms. For example, I will talk about digitization. We have been doing digitization, but the rest of the world will know digitization more in terms of the consumer. But we also have our corporate. So in fact, hotels receive our online bookings because we have those codes that allow us to do our online corporate bookings as well. So we have to be very clear on the terminologies that we use. Because if you model up the different terminologies that are used, you will also not be able to work on your resilience faster. So we have to also know what are trends and what are here to stay. So those are the things that we look at, we determine, and look at them not as trends, but as things that we know will be part of the next normal or now normal that Tina calls. No? That's one. The second is, how fast can you pivot? Because sometimes, of course, when you have governments, they act in a different way than the way the private sector may want to work, no? At least at the onset, until such time that there's more collaboration and so on and so forth. So we were able to pivot some of our businesses, and that's why we are able to offer a lot of our practicum programs as well as an organization. And I say that as an organization, as I said, we're not just a travel agency. So our coverage for our different sessions include a very, very diverse set of sessions that support what is already being taught in school, but we do not replicate what is being taught in school. So we're very, very clear, as I mentioned, on what we need to do. So that's how we do it. So again, I'll go back to resilience as a mindset. The last is also on in terms of the future of tourism. No, when we look at things, no, we look at it as an ongoing business. It's not going to stop. It will mutate. It may probably mutate. But we don't stop there. For example, we look at the practicum program that we have, not just in terms of training those within, because if you look at it, actually, the government, in a way, the other parts of the government, I'm not talking about Department of Tourism, still do not fully understand tourism. That's why they have these I don't know, weird way of looking at tourism, that it is kulelat. But in other countries, it's actually continuing and there's actually hiring. Unfortunately for us, because there will be a diaspora of our workers as well. No? But tourism is continuing everywhere else in the world. And I have to look at it from a global perspective, just to show that the opportunities do exist here and abroad. It's just a matter of time when they will be available. So we have to be ready for that. And these are the things that we concern ourselves with in terms of resilience.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clemente. No, another words of encouragement and very inspiring inputs. No, that tourism might have been challenged, no, in the local perspective. However, as what you said, tourism will mutate. Okay, Charles Darwin has even proven that it's not the mightiest nor the strongest that will survive, but those which are adaptive to change. Okay, I also want to highlight that resilience is not just simply a word, no, but it's a mindset. Okay, for everybody. Thank you so much, Miss Eileen, for those thoughts. Miss Aquino, if you wish to add on that. I'm sorry, Madam. I think the audio is ayun. Thank you po.
Okay, you hear me now? Are you able to hear me? Okay. My change mindset is that people still think that after 20 months already of going through COVID, things will go back to what it was prior to March 2020. But the thing is, we have moved on. And so the change mindset there is to make sure that we move forward and make sure that the products and services that we offer will be relevant to the kind of market that we have. So there's some things that we look at. The solutions that we have right now are moving targets. It's not something that just because you did it now, it's the end all of the solution. You have to make sure that you move forward because there might be new variables that come into play, and you must be able to address that. We also look at quality versus quantity. What is this? A lot of people were focused on the quantity of tourists that arrive in a particular destination. In fact, there were some discussions about going beyond the carrying capacity of certain destinations. But right now, maybe the mindset should be on the quality of tourists that you get in your location. So domestic tourism is going to be something that's going to be foremost in the minds of everyone. You're not even looking at people who are coming from 2 or 3 regions away from your particular destination. Your market is going to be coming directly just around your particular area. And so you've got to make sure that you look at how you are best able to address the kind of needs that they have. Maybe if before it was some services were not included, you can increase the value proposition by including some service that used to be not included in the packages that you have. You know, you look at a lot of webinars that we have on board right now. They're talking about repurposing, redesigning, restructuring, a lot of words. And the thing is, you've got to be constantly on the move because, you know, things that what we did in the last 20 months took maybe 10 years to actually realize before COVID. And so this is very fast paced. You've got to make sure that you're able to address all of these changes that we have. And for the manpower, the human capital that we have, focus should be really on reskilling, upskilling, and cross-skilling. Why do I say that? There are a lot of people now who have seen that maybe they're able to still deliver the kind of service that they have with maybe 25% or 50% of the personnel that they used to have. So what do? You have to make sure that you're able to still maintain the quality of service that you have. And so there would be need for you to reskill or upskill your human resource, or even do cross-skilling, meaning to say reskilling is maybe making sure that you're able to become aware of the new operational processes that you have. Upskilling is if you used to do this only, you're going to be doing more. Cross-skilling, if you were just focused on front office, maybe now you're going to be doing something in housekeeping, something in FBS, etc. And so these things come to mind. And so the name of the game is not anymore specialization, but being a generalist. You should be able to do much more than what you used to do before, because people had a tendency to be very focused on particular tasks only. You should be able to do more now because there's less of you to do things. But the nice thing about it is there are now many apps that you can use to provide assistance so that you don't have to actually, can you imagine a world without Excel or without some kind of a spreadsheet process that can actually put all these numbers together and compute for average, median, etc., the highest frequency. These are things that are valuable right now, and people have to be friends with these tools. Otherwise, it'll take forever for them to make decisions. You have to make decisions sometimes very quickly. There's an opportunity that arises, and you can't just take your sweet time making a decision on that, because otherwise that opportunity might be lost already if you take forever to make a decision. And so there are a lot of things that you have to be conscious about in the work that we do. And so my tip for many students is to really see what's out there and to take a look at what's happening. And sometimes what we're teaching right now in schools, maybe in the online classes that we have, are not updated enough as compared to what's being done in services right now. New protocols are being implemented on a weekly, monthly basis. You do 2 steps of what? Advances, less quarantine, increased capacity. All of a sudden you work backwards again because there's going to be increased alerts, etc. And so there are changes in the way that we do things. And you have to be, some students will say, oh, it's not something that I will have to be bothered right now. But you have to pay attention already. You have to learn what's going on, because if face-to-face happens already, then you'll have to practice the same protocols right away. Okay, so there's a lot of, it's an exciting time actually to be part of the industry right now, because there are a lot of changes, a lot of new developments. But what you need to do is be mindful of how you should be able to apply this in the current work that you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Aquino. Now, I would like to highlight on your thoughts on shifting professional paradigms from specialist to a generalist, which happens to be a very good answer to the questions of the most common questions of students saying, sir, why do we have to study this? Why do we have to master this kind of specialization, and etc. So ito na yon, class, according to Miss Madam Aquino, it's shifting now. From being a specialist to a generalist. Thank you. That's a very rich input coming from you, Madam. Attorney Yap, if you may add on that. Sorry, Attorney, nakamute po yata kayo. Thank you, sir.
All right, sorry about that. I was so engrossed in taking down notes. What was on these two wonderful ladies? What was the question again, please? Because I was taking down notes and so engrossed with their wonderful comments. I wish I could record them.
Yes, Attorney, it's all about the resilience, which entails not just simply optimism, but your contingency plans in an industrial perspective. Okay.
Here, during this pandemic, when we start to move on and go forward, let's not forget, like I mentioned earlier, what we have lost, the freedom to travel, freedom to dine in, freedom to do whatever and whenever we want. And let's also not forget the health and safety protocols, because this is what we need in moving forward. We can never be we can never be too sure. Not with us, but also with other people. We cannot be too sure of what will happen. Like this pandemic, would have known that this will happen at this long a time, and the devastation that it brought on our tourism industry. And learning new products is also very important. We in the hotel industry, we have done a lot of improvements. We have been multitasking. That would be the words of before. Right now would be cross training, everything. Actually, these are the words that we've been using much before, even during pre-COVID, but it was much more highlighted these times. Let's continue also, for me, continue to value the employees that we have. I'm so afraid that our employees, or not only the employees of my establishment, also the other establishment, the industry, the good ones, might migrate to other categories of business. And then we will lose because it's so hard to recruit and maintain good and quality service professionals. I'm sure in schools it's very difficult also to maintain, professors and educators. If they migrate to one job category, to other outside, it will be difficult to replace each and every one of you, I'm sure. So let's get all ready with revenge patrons, revenge travel, revenge dine in. We are getting ready for that one. That's why we need to value our employees. We need to value our data. We need to value everyone here. So we hope soon the government will be able to lift the restrictions for us to move on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney, for that very touching words. No, that simply manifests it's really the employees, not to value the employee or the employees of the organization. It's always manpower over capital, over investment, over the other equities and assets of the organization. Now, regrets, but I think we don't have the much luxury of time. We've enjoyed a lot, so I may just siguro throw na lang the final question to ask for few points of view, okay, coming from the three of you, talking about the silver lining, no? the light at the end of the tunnel once we get out, from this crisis. Now, cases are now declining, hopefully in the Philippines as well. The government is now doing its best to impose improved safety protocols and vaccines are now available. Thus, we are now positively seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully, fingers crossed. What are your foreseen opportunities once we get out of this crisis? And what are the possible breakthroughs that the private sector is eyeing to recover from all the losses? I bet Ma'am Eileen has something to say about it. Now, what are the breakthroughs that you see as an opportunity ngayon po that will be also applicable in the long run after this pandemic? Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you for that question again. Actually, it's harder on us because we had the tail or we had the lead coming in because we were a little bit more advanced. But now that everyone has seen a lot of the breakthroughs and opportunities, it lessens what our value proposition is in a little way, no? But again, we keep on moving forward and finding out what other gaps we can fill, not just in terms of selling directly to consumers, but also what our organization as a whole means. Because what we want to do in Raja Travel is to make sure that we also replicate the industry in itself. So if there's a portfolio that we can have or add that can be better, or if we can improve, for example, we have our Tourism Knowledge Center, which is a research arm of ours, where we feel that there's still a big gap on the research that's being done in tourism. We really feel that we need to push on with that one. No? That's a little bit of a CSR because we really don't earn a lot of anything, money or whatever it is, but we earn a lot of knowledge from it. So we really feel that having more knowledge gives us a better asset in that regard. So that's one of the opportunities that we would like to continue to pursue, not that it's something new to us, no? So what we're doing with all our different parts of the organization is to ensure that we can continuously improve, if not add something new that we feel that is a gap currently in the organization. So even the PTHCD, the Philippine Tourism Human Capital Development, we are very much part of the creation of that one, because we want to make sure that there's really a convergence among the trifocal system that we have in terms of education. It has to be more contiguous than what it currently is. So if we can push ourselves in that direction, so a lot of the things that we're doing is really probably not seen in the usual sense, like a sales or whatever. But if we fix a little bit more of structures, then we know that we have helped the entire industry. So that's our goal.
Thank you so much. What a noble value proposition of Raja. Ngayon pa lang, Miss Eileen, I'm telling you, you have to base your recruitment email na, no, for most of our students might be sending for their practicum. And I hope we will be receiving positive feedbacks. Maraming salamat po, Miss Eileen, for that points of view. How about insights from Miss Aquino? Madam?
Yes, the silver lining is not here yet. I know the end of the glimmer of hope or the end of the tunnel is not yet here with us. I just took a look at the numbers that we have in terms of vaccination rate. We are number 3 from the lowest. We are 17.71% right now in terms of vaccination among ASEAN countries. The highest number would be around 82% in Singapore. And so what does that tell us? It tells us that maybe it's going to take some time more for us to move forward, but a lot of silver linings actually have exposed itself in the last 20 months that we were in. What? One is collaboration. Who would have thought that you could bring people together in one virtual platform and be able to discuss, whether give updates or have learning sessions that are meaningful. Second, you're able to bring in speakers right now from not just limited to the area that you have in Valenzuela, but your campuses now have been able to field people who are handling different sections of this particular program that you have. But now you're able to you're able to invite speakers from Malaysia, from the US. That was something unheard of before the pandemic. Third, there are opportunities now for us to learn beyond what we have in the classroom because of many learning management or micro credentials that are out there available for us. And so I think, whatever crisis we have, there will always be opportunities for us. Micro, small, medium enterprises are actually also coming out in numbers, because now there are a lot of businesses that were maybe didn't have any purpose before, but because of COVID, they saw that there was a need for their products. So you have a lot of people who are making PPEs or providing for outsourced products that can now be serviced to a bigger enterprise. So there are a lot of things that all you have to do is make sure that you are able to network with these people. I guess one of the things that we can take a look at is traffic is not going to be a problem anymore. There are less cars because we can virtually travel. I'm actually right now also attending another webinar in Guimaras, but at the same time, still with you. In a click of a button, you can be in 2 places all at the same time. So I guess there are plenty of opportunities for us to be thankful, still giving us a lot of brain stimulation and a lot of ideas that can actually prosper for us in the coming days. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam. No, it's looking at on the brighter side. No, it's a clearer vision of what's at the end of the tunnel. Maraming salamat po. Okay, for those words. Now, lastly, Attorney Yap, if you may also share about that silver lining now.
Thank you, Prof. Apid. Silver lining. Well, this is it. This is today, not tomorrow, but this is today. Today to do what? Today is to get ready. We will now. We will have to get ready. As we have know, education has improved. Education distribution has improved. If there are no FTF, we went to online. So there was a big improvement on that one. We still communicate with our students. So that's very good. Skills have also improved. We have learned to be resilient. We learned health and safety protocol, as I mentioned earlier. We will not forego of this. We will continue to do this. Digitalization, we all recognize this, and we will continue to do this, including payments, of course, online payments. Everyone is going that now. Everyone, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, revenge travel. So everyone is gearing towards that. Everyone's already packing their bags. Everyone is checking their swimwear. Everyone is really checking their credit card, if it's still okay for now to be used for travel or dining out. And people are, what we have noticed right now is people are willing to travel. People are willing to dine out. So what does it mean? People are willing to pay. It doesn't mean that you're willing to pay at any price, but we're willing to pay. So we will have to start on that one. So we will have to accommodate that. So we have learned to be patient, and right now, whatever services that we can afford for our customers, they will also be as patient also because they have been waiting for so long for this one. So there is a big incentive to open up right now. The economy will improve. The government will be waiting. Of course, the best way for the improve the lifeblood of the nation, of course, are taxes. If the economy has improved, the taxes will have to come in. So I'd like to tell our students and our professors and everyone is, don't give up. Don't let go of your ambition. Don't let go of your dream. If you have them, keep it. It has just been delayed. Or if it is not, actually, it may not have been delayed. It was put on a higher perspective because we have learned so much skills on that one. So we may not have all the answers, but neither we have all the questions also. But right now, all the answers are shall we say, unrecognized in the hands of our future industry workers, which are the students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney, with that retreat-like words of wisdom that indeed our dreams might have been just delayed, but not necessarily canceled. Okay. Thank you so much, Attorney. Now, moving forward, since I believe we're running out of time, to our esteemed speakers for this session, thank you so much for the invaluable inputs that you have shared with us. And may your generosity, sparing time and effort being with us here today shall be returned to you in 1,000 folds. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we give all our speakers with a virtual round of applause? Thank you so much. We are now proceeding or moving to the question and answer portion. I believe the Q&A chat box is popping up from Laguna campus. Perhaps we can give here a quick answer from our speakers. What do you believe or what do you believe what do you believe in that will need to prepare for a future job in the new normal, specifically for hospitality students and future hospitality students, those who are, shall we say, senior high school or eyeing to take hospitality and tourism related programs. Despite this, we don't know where the pandemic or when the pandemic will end. Who would like to give a sort of wisdom for that? Ms. Aquino, if you may.
There may not be people to actually service all the requirements once tourism picks up as a result of lessening down the quarantine levels. And so there might be need for people to actually be credentialed, meaning to say you don't have to finish 4 years to actually get a good competency, to get competent in a particular area. And so it might be good for many schools to actually look at micro-credentials, either using TESDA certifications as a way to make sure that students have what it takes to be in front office, housekeeping, etc. Because it might be a huge investment. If you take a look at the number of people who have lost their jobs or who are underemployed right now, maybe they may not have money to send students, their children, to a 4-year program. And so credentials will count a lot, especially as people take a look at who can resume work right away with them. Second is you also have to take a look at being resourceful. Not everything will be available. And so thinking out of the box is something that we should be able to do because a lot of people wait for ideas coming from the top people. But if you can have a very good idea, you should be able to share that already, and that could be a start of new opportunities for the business to restart. Those are two things that I can take a look at right now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Madam. Now for
Rita might have some ideas. She's on the panel as well.
Yes, Asek, if you may wish to say something about the question, we would love to hear that.
Sorry, Tina, you caught me. No, because as Tina was saying, everybody's busy. A lot of webinars and events all at the same time. It's World Tourism Day, so happy World Tourism Day. Yeah, so I guess we're talking about, no, I just got caught few words, no, like silver lining. Is that what silver lining in all of this? Is that
Yes,
what?
yes, Aztec.
Okay. No, I would always, what's this? Like earlier, I was giving a presentation to tourism and hospitality students as well. And there was like one of their officials there said that because I was discussing the future of works in tourism, and with what is happening right now and the impact of COVID in the travel and tourism industry, like students might wonder, is there still a future for us in in the travel and tourism industry? But you've heard all our panelists that we need to adapt. There are many ways the industry has changed also in terms of its operations, and it's necessary for our students to also learn new skills. No? And I think we in this digital age, our students at this point in time would be the best candidates, because they were born with technology and in the digital age, so it's going to be very easy for them to navigate in this now normal, using technology and a lot of digitization. And another I also told them that we keep on saying that our doors are closed, the some of the destinations in our neighbors are also closed, they're not fully opened yet. But just keep in mind that pre-COVID, not DOT, I was about to say DOT, the Philippines has already reached a point wherein I believe it has become, it has earned its place in the global tourism map. We've been reaping recognitions and, titles from international bodies left and right, the Philippines being that sought after and best travel destination. And that's reflected in the numbers pre-COVID time. So I would like to believe that, with the qualities and with the products and, we Filipinos as the number one asset of our tourism industry, we took care of our stranded tourists during the ECQ, and that alone also generated a lot of praises and comments from our stranded foreign tourists. That alone, I believe, is something that very positive, that all of them would come back when our doors will be open again, and then travel will be, we can travel freely once again. So I always say that the Philippines has this great potential in becoming really a tourism destination, that's really globally competitive. And yeah, so let's just stay hopeful and faithful, noting that the people out there have recognized our potentials through these recognitions that we've been receiving, even during at the time of ECQ and COVID. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aztec, okay, for those invaluable inputs, and giving us the positive lens, looking forward for those opportunities and breakthroughs after this pandemic. Okay, as much as we would like to accommodate all the questions that are popping up in our Q&A box, apologies, but we'll do our best to respond and address those. Perhaps our invited speakers may also give their opinions and points of view on that right after, okay, na lang po the session, because we're running out of time. We're supposed to have 45 minutes only per session. All right. While the session was ongoing, kanina, all questions are, I think, popped up. Okay, we're also popping up on your screen right now, and we appreciate those who participated. We have now the statistics for question number 1. I'm sorry. I think I was able to close it. Okay, that's it. Question number 1, or call question number 1, what do you think is the most engaging social media platform that can be utilized by travel service providers in boosting their promotion strategies? 71% of the total participants said it's Facebook, 3% says it's Instagram, Instagram. Sa Instagram pa naman ako laging nagpo-post. Okay, 10% says it's YouTube. Okay, the vlogs and everything. And 16% na is the newest trend now, which is TikTok. So Facebook pa rin talaga pala. I guess with this data coming from the perspective of our participants who are also travelers, this might be helpful to our industry practitioners. Our second question says, do you think a full vaccine rollout can significantly affect the market's travel behavior? And 95% of the population or of the participants says yes. Wow. I thought most of you will be saying no, pero I guess you have been infected by this positive perspective given to us by our esteemed panel of speakers for this session. Thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our industry-focused session. The current crisis has been very tough for all of us, be it in the aspect of business, community, family, and sanity, even sanity for some. On the brighter side, I believe most of us will agree that the crisis has also taught us essential lessons to cope and be resilient. To our participants, most especially to the young aspiring professionals, our students, let me end this session with another thought-provoking question. Raising to greater heights, what is the ultimate positive transformation that has shaped you so far, brought by the pandemic, that you also think will be of great use to you as a professional in your field in the future, making you a crisis-resistant individual? This has been your moderator for session 2, Mr. Alwin Apid. I would like again to thank you everyone for the time and opportunity. I'm now giving back the floor to our lovely hosts, Miss Anna, Sir Matt.
Thank you very much, Sir Alvin, and to our dear panel speakers. Certainly, I had many takeaways from this session. It's nostalgic for me, hearing those jargon words, those jargons like B2B, the B2C, the occupancy in the initial part of your discussion. I couldn't just really help it not to recall my glory days in the industry as a former hotel sales professional with our properties in key destinations in the Philippines like Baguio and Boracay. I could remember those days where we were really fully occupied at those times with our different markets. And I really commend how our speakers positioned the stepping stone of the strategies in saving this sector for inclusive tourism. And that's providing you with a relevant message. And that is resilience indeed is really a mindset for us to keep going and look forward to reliving those glory moments again really soon. At this point, we shall now award the Certificate of Appreciation to our panel speakers. Allow me to read the citation. For our first speaker, this Certificate of Appreciation is proudly presented to Ms. Eileen Clemente, in grateful recognition of her distinguished and invaluable service during the 5th CHIM's International Virtual Conference and World Tourism Day 2021 celebration with the theme Tourism for Inclusive Growth, Creating Positive Transformation and Post-Pandemic Resilience. Given this 27th day of September 2021 at the Our Lady of Fatima University, Valenzuela City. Signed by Dr. Ignacio C. Cordova Jr., the Dean of the College of Hospitality and Institutional Management. Thank you very much, Ma'am Clemente, and we look forward to seeing you soon again next time in our virtual conference.
Thank you.
Our next Certificate of Appreciation